everybody. In today's Family Focus, we're taking a closer look at how cell phones are changing the way the younger generations interact. Could being connected all the time actually be making people feel more lonely? We're joined by Dr. Mallika Marshall, of course, to talk about this. And so we know children use phones to text or communicate with other people, and they're on social media. So they're rarely using them as phones to talk to people, which leads to the question, how are children going to learn to communicate in the future?
That's a very good question. And have you had your child, like, honestly, you give them the phone to talk and they don't even know how to put it to their ear?
It's true.
Because they don't
have time for that.
Right. And so there it's on speakerphone or whatever. Anyway, and you go to malls and you go to parks and you might go to a cafe and you see groups of teens and young adults who are there together.
Sitting next to each other,
not talking to one another because they're all independently on their respective phones. So the question is, yes, how are these kids going to build the skills that they need to be able to communicate face-to-face in the future, like we have to do every day? And so there was actually a study from the Pew Research Center that found 39% of 18 to 29-year-olds, so we're not just talking about teenagers, who are online almost constantly. And then there was a recent UPenn study that found that less social media use resulted in less loneliness and depression. So there really is a good reason for us as parents to try to get kids to limit their use.
Well, of course, on social media, it always looks like everybody else is having such a great time and such a perfect life, right? But also, you can't be Luddites about this. I mean, it's going to be part of their lives. So how do you get kids to put the phones down and actually learn to communicate face-to-face, even though we know they're going to use this technology?
Well, it's really about being firm and consistent, like any sort of parenting, right, and any sort of discipline. And, you know, different rules are going to work for different families. So I'm not saying that everybody needs to employ all of these things, but there need to be sort of designated times and places to use their cell phones. Some people would say no cell phone use during any family meals. Some people say no cell phone use in the bedroom, for example. Also, no communication with strangers, because that obviously can lead to complicated things. And you also want to make sure as a parent that you let your children know that you can gain access to their cell phone at any time.
Yeah, you're paying for it.
Right? My kids know that I can look at their texting streams, I can go on their Instagram, I can go on their Snapchat and see exactly what they've been up to. And then there are parental controls and things like that that you can employ. So I think it's just really important for parents to understand that they do need to monitor it and they do need to regulate it. And they need to talk face-to-face with their children, because sometimes we're as guilty.
It's true, and it can't be a babysitter.
That's right.
Dr. Mallika Marshall, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Every day you can see Dr. Mallika Marshall's reports on WBZ News, and of course all the time here on CBSBoston.com.